Hey, welcome to a tutorial. I'm going to show you how to use... Hey, welcome to this Alakazam. Hey, welcome to this Alakazam tutorial. I'm going to show you how to do something. What am I going to show you? Oh, I'm going to show you how you can edit your photos. I have an Android. This might be on iPhones, but I'm going to show you basically on how show you this app on Androids for using for your eCommerce photos. So it's called Background Eraser. I'll have to fix that. Oh yeah, whatever. So I'll show you some tricks. So we go to Background Eraser, and then I'm going to show you a little trick. This is up to you if you want to do it. I just do it because I don't like it, but just because I don't like it. I don't like it, and it slows the things down, but it's up to you. So we pick a photo. So let's find a photo I took. We'll use this one. Sorry. So you'll open up your photo, and it's going to tell you to crop as much as possible. So you want to crop as... This just makes it easier for you, but you want to crop as much as possible of the background you don't want. And even if you don't, like let's say you do this, it won't make a difference. But you kind of want to do as much as possible. I'm going to show you what here, I'll show you this. So if we crop as much as possible, we hit done. Oops. We hit done. That's what you'll see. Like you'll have a lot less background that you have to clean up. But let's say you don't do it. Then you'll have like this much. You'll have this too. You'll have this. You'll have like all this. You have all this background that you have to deal with cleaning out. So what I'm going to show you also is, so once you pick your background, you're going to notice this thing called offset, cursor offset. I'm using a stylus, but I'm using a stylus. So you're going to see like this little bubble here, and you're going to see this. So this is basically what your eraser is, or this is like what the tool is, and this is what you would use if you were like using your finger or a stylus. You could touch this one right here, the red circle, and then the white and red circle, that one is going to be your tool, what it does. I don't like using, I always turn the offset all the way off, so you'll notice when you turn it off, it basically makes it 1-to-1 ratio. They're both like sitting on top of each other. Because I use a cursor, because I use a stylus, so I just like it off. I don't like, I'd rather just do that. So up to you, but that's what I always do. I always turn that off. Every time you open the app, every time you open the app and every time you open a new photo, it's always going to be like all the way to the right. So you want to turn it to left if you want it off every time. And it's always going to be on manual. So manual basically makes it so you can erase anything on your screen. If you make a mistake, you can hit the undo. A trick to do with undo is, so if you're doing, and you can even scroll in. So what I do is, let's say I'm doing this, like I'm like, let's say I'm like editing a photo. The minute you stop touching the cursor thing, let's see if it shows up. Yeah, it does. So look at this number right here on the undo. So I'm like erasing. Now it's at 4. I touch again, it's at 5. And why this is important is because if I'm doing this and I stop, that's one event. And let's say I did this whole thing right here. Sorry, let me say I did this whole thing right here, and I'm like working on right here. Or let's just say, okay, I did this whole thing right here, let's just say. And then, but I never lifted my finger. Now, like, I'm like, oh no, I screwed up. Well, now if I go back, hold on, let me show you. Okay, so let's say I do this whole thing right here. And I'm like, oh, let's say this took whatever, still a lot of work. And I didn't lift my fingers. And I went over. It's weird, it's not doing it now. Oh, you know what it is? Maybe it depends on the color. Sorry, never mind. Maybe it's whatever. Well, usually, like if you're working on a certain area, so usually if you're, maybe it depends on the color, because usually what we'll do is like if I'm going around an edge, sometimes I'll like stop and pick up again. That way I have like, in case I screwed up, I don't rate, like it doesn't take away everything, but it's not doing it right now. Never mind. Okay, so now you could use manual and you can do this. You could erase them. You can also, you'll see it's set at 15. You could expand it to 50 and you can make your eraser bigger, or smaller. You can also zoom in and zoom out, which is really good. But let's just say you're like, oh, that's a lot of work. I don't want to sit here and erase the whole thing, even though it's not really a lot of work. But let's just pretend it's this. You can hit the auto. Now the auto, you get this round circle with a little like plus sign in the middle. What it does is there's a threshold of similar color. If you hit something, so now like it's gonna basically erase, depending on what the threshold is set to, it's gonna erase similar colors within like this, within the grid. So like, since I'm hitting black and it's only going to do it to like a similar color to the next like similar color. So once like there's like, once it starts getting like another shade darker or lighter, it stops. But we could raise the threshold up high and it will take out like anything that's similar still within that color range. So like, we put it down. Since these pixels are all different whites, it doesn't take, they're like hard to see. Even on like 3, it barely leaves a lot. But if we raise it up, it's gonna take away a lot more. So sometimes but you have to be careful because sometimes like it's raised all the way up. like even on here, it still like erases the pink and white because it's considering it, I guess. So usually, Jesus. So usually I use just auto, and then I will do that. Oh my god, sorry. Everyone has to go to different places. Sorry, people are talking about dinner, and everyone wants something different instead of like everyone wants something different instead of just eating what everyone else is eating. Okay, so now you could scroll in. Oops, sorry. Now you can use something called magic. It's cool because it like basically works similar to the auto, but it only works within like this circle. This tool I use all the time because it's one of the easier ones to use. But you could also use the use the auto is also really good too. It just depends. But the auto could be a kind of a pain too. It just depends on the shades that you're working with. And then you could also, like, if you end up erasing something, you can also use repair. And repair also has a repair size that make them bigger or smaller. Oops. So you can also change the background color to lighter or darker, which is what I sometimes have to do because I can't see it sometimes. Now the one problem with this is you could see you can kind of like, you can get really fast at it. I'm taking a little bit of time on this, but like you can get really fast at it and you can edit, but it's like it also takes a long time. This also can take a lot, it can also be kind of take a lot of time. So now what you also can do is once you see, I already see that, I don't like that. Where did I see that? Okay. Now once you're like feel comfortable enough with it, the picture, you can hit done. It's gonna take you to the next page. This is for smoothing the edge, and it gives you from 0 to 5. And what it does is like it will basically remove part of the edge. But you have to be careful because you see right here, it's like since I deleted some of that, it's already it's removing it. So it's kind of good if you're doing it with like the threshold. But for e-commerce pictures, you don't want to take, I mean, now, let's just say it's look good or not. Okay, so now, when you see the picture, it's going to be black. So what you want to do is now you need another app called white background, save as JPEG. And we load in the picture, because you'll see after you save it, it's going to be have a black background. So we want to change that. So we save it JPEG look thing later. And it's done. Now this is what happens because of you know, the ads and fun for the background eraser. So trick here is you put your phone on airplane mode, background eraser. No ads, can't run because there's, we'll do something simple like this, one. You can also see why it makes it important to take out, to remove as much of the background as possible, because then it gives you a lot less, makes it easier for you to clean up the stuff you're working with. So like, that way you don't have to worry about like fixing so much extra editing stuff if you clear out a lot less. So let me see, we can see if this will smooth it out. Let's see. Okay, now we could basically there's the thing where you have to kind of like remember, like, oh yeah, I have auto to use. I saw something else. Okay. Just be careful, because using the smooth, it will basically take away a lot. And then the thing that the change in the color, you can sometimes see if you have extra stuff hidden, like you are, didn't happen here, but like sometimes when you're erasing something, especially with the auto, you might have like little like weird fragments of other like the color you used auto on to remove it. So we save. See, and that was much faster. And look, no ad. So click on it, we save the JPEG. Voila. So now let's just go to that. So look, it looks very nice. Doesn't it? Very nice, nice and clean compared to, not that it was a huge difference, but let's just see what that one looked like. Let's find where it was. Nope. Nope. There. I know, even though now this is what it looks like after the JPEG, which it still looks fine, just looks like it's really cropped. But this way we got rid of the white, we got rid of this little shadow and stuff. But you know, it could be different, you know, this one, but let's just say you were doing something where you did this and you wanted to get rid of this little thing, or you want to make the background look even extra clear, crisp and stuff. That's how you could do it, by basically using the background eraser, like here we'll go, let's see if we can find that one. Okay, like this one. Okay. This is what I mean. See, you can kind of see these little like dots right here, and you can kind of only see them when it's on the dark color, but the white they're really hard to see. So that's why I usually switch between the two. Seems like a lot of work, but it can make your pictures look really good, and especially if you're like your background looks kind of crappy, depending on your background that you're using. Make a big difference. And you just make your pictures look that much nicer. Sometimes I don't use sometimes I won't erase backgrounds just because it's just not worth the time. But if it depends on what the product is or how bad the picture came out, sometimes I'll just do it just to Sometimes I'll do it just to clean up background. See, save a JPEG. Bam, that looks great. Now we look at that. So save a JPEG. Okay, we didn't do that one, but let's see. Let's see, it's in here. This one here. Okay, so we have this one. Here's the original, and here's it after. So you can see, even though I didn't remove like the little spot in here, like totally between, but it's just a much cleaner picture. Like there's not this little like thing, you don't see the shadow, you don't see the thing. It's just a much cleaner like background picture. So again, it looks like a little bit better. Can make a big difference, especially helps with search engines. So this is kind of a fun thing. So again, this is what I use. I use background eraser. It's called background eraser. This is on Android, but they might have it on in the iTunes store. I'm not sure. Even a little how to use. And then there's also the Save as JPEG converter. It's made by the same people who made the background eraser, and they think they made this other layer one, but I don't use that app really. And then also by putting your phone on airplane mode blocks the app from running its ads, which it's a free app, but up to you if you want to do that. I do it just because every time I save a photo, every time you save a photo, it runs an ad. And if I'm doing like 25 or 50 or 100 photos, I don't really want to waste 3 to 5 seconds everything. And it does it for background eraser, and it does it for the JPEG. So it's kind of a pain. So, but up to you if you want to put your phone on airplane mode or not. Only problem is if you do put it on airplane mode, obviously you're not going to get any phone calls or texts while your phone's on airplane mode. So just be aware about that. Alright, thanks for checking out this tutorial. Hope you enjoyed. Have any questions, leave them down below.